Good afternoon, traders. It's Monday, July 6th, and we have George back. So he had a nice vacation with his family, and everybody was very excited to hear his voice again this morning. And the room was a little interesting. I mean, I saw some targets getting hit, so that's always a good thing on your first day back. You tend to get a little out of sync with the market. At least I do when I'm not looking at charts for 2 weeks. So, how you doing, George?
Doing good. Yeah. What is it? Is it the Aerosmith song? I think it's I'm back in the saddle again.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Is it Aerosmith?
I'm not sure.
I think I got the right artist. I'm pretty sure.
Somebody,
Anyhow,
somebody correct us in the comments. How's that?
yeah, yeah. I don't want to sing it because it would probably not do it justice, but
I'll
it's
have to
involved
edit
a
that
lot of
out.
screaming.
Yeah.
No, it was a great day. I had spent, to your point, it is. It's hard sometimes coming back after a couple of weeks, certainly any more than that, trying to remember exactly because it's all sort of a flowing, thing. The market moves in patterns, and yeah, when you come completely out of sync with that pattern, it can be a bit challenging. But I did spend pretty much, what was it, Sunday night from the market opened at 6 o'clock East Coast time. I spent from 6 to 11 p.m. yesterday reorienting myself with what had happened over the last 2 weeks. So
Nice.
just
Nice.
for those who are interested in what it takes sometimes to actually go back and check in on everything and see what took place, what happened, what boxes were checked, what wasn't. Yeah, it can be a lot. So anyhow, let's start here with the ES today. All right. Zoom in a bit here for you. And I'll zoom in first and then we'll come back up into the higher targets that we had called out. So there wasn't a lot in the way of pre-market chart casting today. The earliest thing that I had posted was here at about 8:50 in the morning. So a lot of that was due, in fact, to kind of what you're saying. I wanted to make sure that I was really grabbing onto the things that were the most relevant so that I was as best in sync as I could be. And this was really the only two things that were really happening at the first part of the morning for the ES. There was a potential downside scenario. They were working on one, and there were targets that we had posted even below this level if, and this is always the big key, if they can get past the hurdle. So at about 9:05, I had made sure that everybody understood like this is the hurdle right here at 75.52 quarter. If they can't break that, and this is just how the market works, folks, they will come. I kind of guess it's more like a little head fake, And I think I've heard other people discuss it at length over the years, and they really consider this little space down here as a bit of a liquidity pull in that you can kind of look like just look to your left what happened at 4:20 in the morning, and like it kind of came closer to that around 5, and they dipped again here around 7, 8 o'clock. And so what they do is sort of a head fake, right? Is they break this very common line, so to speak, of what's been going on with just a slight bit more, and then that draws people into thinking like that's it, that's the move they're really going to go this time. And of course, as you can see, they didn't. So without a whole lot of, there's just not going to be a whole lot to talk about different from what's on the screen here, folks. Is that the hurdle was the play today? If you counter trended or not counter trended, but you bought, and I know Bob, you do a much better explanation of this than I do. I make the assumption people know, like, yeah, it's a hurdle, you should be buying there, which is probably not very intuitive. But if it doesn't break the hurdle, then what we're shooting for are upside key levels that it needs to kind of re-break before it gets to targets. And there were really only three. The first one we'd called out was up here at 58. So we kind of made a verbal, you point of saying, look, 58 is going to be awesome. If we can get above 58, then there's hope. If we can get above 64.75, which we do have labeled here, folks, it's the decision point. If we can get above 64.75, then we can achieve targets here to the upside. So within a matter of 10 minutes of the open, We've come down, tagged the hurdle, and in 2 candles, we already made it to first target that we had posted out ahead of time. So
Well,
after that, it
ac-
did become a bit interesting.
actually, on that point, in full disclosure, George's
Yeah.
machine was having issues, so those
Oh, yeah, yeah.
targets didn't get put on there until they were basically about happening. But it did come back a second time and bounce from the hurdle. So,
Yep,
you know,
that's
we're all
true.
about full
Yeah, that's
disclosure
right
around
because we were
here.
we were
Yeah.
focused. Yeah,
Yep.
we were focused on 58 and 64.75.
Yep.
So
Yep.
those were like we just had to call them out verbally. That's right. My machine didn't fully freeze this morning, but it got
It was pretty close.
really sluggish. It was
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yep.
I was really thinking it was going to crash on me again. I was, yeah. Anyhow, I was like, don't do that on my first day back. That's not cool. But yes, to Bob's point, we were able to get the target up more verbally than actually put it up physically. As it was happening, I was like, all right, if you held through the 58 and the 64.75, be sure you're taking profit here at the 71.5 because that's officially first target. And then it got real funky
Yeah, it did.
for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. But look at it. Just, you know, if you're viewing this screen, folks, and you're just seeing what's here and you're looking at what is, like, yeah, it came back to the hurdle all the way right here at 940. But did it break it? No. And then after that, 5 minutes later, where did it come to? It came back to retest the decision point. Did it break it? And this is the stair step pattern that I try to get folks to recognize, which today was a prime example as to why you don't chase the market and you just lean into the levels that are the ones that have to break to the upside or the downside. Because if you're leaning into these levels down here, even if you're wrong, you're taking way less of a hit. Yeah, the number of points. I mean, we're only talking about a 3 point. Yeah, 55 quarter to 52 quarter. Yeah. So you're talking about a 3 point spread here of where you really need to put your risk. Maybe obviously 4 and 5 points to cover the potential wick, but it's just an example of what we're trying to describe day in and day out. Is like I want you to buy low, sell high. If you get into this chasing mentality, will it work for you? Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, market's gonna rip and just go and go and go and go and go. And that's great. But it just doesn't seem to work that often, certainly not enough to where it's worth it. So yeah, from about 940, as you can see here, all the way through, gosh, 10, 15, 10, 20, 10, 30. It was a bit nuts because it kept retesting. And that was really what I had mentioned in the room is that looking back, again, taking that time on Sunday was just critical because I could see that the market, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I don't care why, but for whatever reason, they were doing a lot to just constantly retest, retest, and retest key levels before they committed and went, if not the whole length, but at least went some distance. So a little nuts there, but yeah, we did. We got all of our targets to the upside. I posted this big blue box here, and I just wanted to make people aware that getting through this whole zone is going to be extremely important. And that I, for one, didn't trust the market really above this zone today. And as you can see, much later in the day, we did get a return back all the way, quite nearly, to the next decision point that got us into the next series, which we'll zoom in here. And so we got all the way up to first target. And then right after it achieved that, 320 or 120. Look at that. Nice little retest right back. If not exactly, it's pretty darn close. Right back to the decision point, and then boom, right to second target to the tick, folks. Like money, dead on to the tick. And we've obviously ended the trading day now at this point. So that was the ES. NQ. I think it's a little simpler. Yeah, because we only had one series. The ES was running 2 series today, so when they do that, obviously there's a bit more to talk about. But the NQ was only running 1 series this morning. And the trade of the day, here it is. And guys, if you watch these videos at all, I mean, here it is. Has to hold right there at 792. And there's just not a lot else to say. It
There's
shot up, got above our decision point, came back, retested it one time, and just
Yeah, you're looking at 5 minute candles, but literally on my 1 minute chart, it was beautiful. Like there was a couple of different opportunities there, and it within 20 seconds it was back up 100 points. I was just like, holy cow!
Yep,
I mean, it was really beautiful. And I don't know if you noticed, George, but while you were gone, the ES and the NQ were like literally completely out of sync for most of those 2 weeks. It was the weirdest thing
I
ever.
did.
Like I didn't even
I
put
did.
targets on NQ a couple days just because it was so not participating. But
I
today, for
saw
once, they
that. I saw that.
finally
And I
kind of got back
analyzed
in
it.
sync. Yeah.
Yeah. I was analyzing that, and what they were doing is they were hitting key levels, but to your point, they weren't doing it via target sync. Like they weren't both trying to go for targets. Instead, the ES was like trying to shoot for targets, while the NQ was actually going for a resistance level.
Yep.
So it
That was weird.
was it was it was weird. Yeah. Maybe I picked like the best 2 weeks of the summer to take off.
Yeah, you might
It
have.
was I might have
But that's
nailed it.
260 points from has to hold to rubber band. Just to
Is it?
highlight
Let's
that.
see.
It's damn near. It's really
790,
nice.
792. Yeah. Yeah.
Almost
Yep.
300.
And it even got even a little bit higher. We did have a hurdle up here I was anticipating up here on the NQ around 108. I didn't quite make it there. Yeah, we missed it by about 15 points.
Which is
But
nothing. Which is nothing in
again,
the
if
NQ.
you well, yeah, but if you trade the way that we're trying to coach and train people to trade, I want you to go in the direction of the bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter, and it's important to clarify that too for anybody who doesn't watch these videos frequently, is that it can seem like you don't know what you're talking about if you miss this thing by 15 points. Okay, maybe that's true if I were trying to do something with it, but I'm trying to go in the direction of the bubbles, and we are operating off of the premise of things like has to holds and hurdles and decision points, and you can see obviously just how
Yeah. And
insanely clean. So I'll give you some reference here. So yeah, 9:15 is when that's posted. We didn't get there for another 20 minutes. You have 20 minutes to put your trade in. Go
and
ahead.
just like the ES, that decision point right there, if you extend that to the right, it's almost miraculous how it
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
came back and touched it. I mean, it's
Yep, came right to it.
like,
I
guys, come
saw
on.
that earlier. Yep.
So, most of us don't trade after 11:30ish, but today was one of those days where there was a couple hundred points sitting around there off of the levels that George had called in the morning. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, as I was leaving at about 11 o'clock, that was the only thing I'd said, is that now that we've achieved the number of targets we have, all's well. But as long as they maintain the 885, which is the decision point at this point, then as long as they maintain that, it is now the new has to hold based on market dynamics and price structure and so forth.
Yep.
So yeah, to your point, it was absolutely brilliant. You could have gotten all of it all over again
Yep.
after the fact, because it didn't break. Will it break? I don't know. We'll see. But it's a great spot again. I guess I look at it that way. I'd much rather buy down here
And be
and be
wrong.
wrong
Yep.
rather than buy way up here thinking I'm going to get that last little bit between, say, rubber band and hurdle. So just the way I think about it.
Nope, that's good. 3 years ago, I would be trying to chase up there in the middle of those targets and just, listening to your commentary day after day after day. I've definitely gotten much better about waiting on that pullback. So I did not trade at all while I was, you know, trying to fill in running the room. So I'm looking forward tomorrow to actually putting on some trades. So
Nice. Yeah, I was very, very lucky that I got my trades in just before my computer started freaking out. So
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I know we have a couple people that were asking me about trials in the emails, and I told them, if they signed up before, we'd extend it, but if they didn't, now's the time to get back in. I had one literally 10 minutes ago ask me if you were back, and George is back.
I'm back.
So
I'm
use
back.
the links below down in the description, sign up for our free trial, and everybody who signs up for a trial gets a one-on-one session if they want to take it with George, which I highly recommend. I know we had two people today asking when they could get on the schedule, so
Yep.
definitely come take advantage of that.
Yeah, during that too, just so you understand, like I'm already posting what is market structure. That's what the bubbles and the has to holds and everything are all about. That's market structure. So you got to get used to that. Once you get used to it, What the one-on-ones are about is helping people understand their strategy and what's going to work best for them with inside structure. Because I can't change structure, nor should you try, right? Like it is what it is. So how are you as a trader going to trade inside of that? And that's what we work on.
Beautiful. Okay, everybody, we will see you tomorrow. I did not look at news tomorrow. I apologize. I normally give a preview of that,
Oh
but
yeah, I
let's
didn't look either.
see. Let's make sure. We almost missed one today at 10. One of the guys in the room was like, "Hey,
Oh
no
my
news."
gosh,
That was great of
yes.
them. Yeah.
We were what 60 seconds, a minute and 30, something like that from news, and I'm sitting there talking about other stuff, and he's like, "Don't forget, there's news at 10 o'clock." I'm
Oh,
like, "Boy, I am out of sync."
you know who that was? That was Ali. I think we'll give Ali a shout out for doing that.
Oh,
He
thank you, Ollie.
piped up and said, "Hey guys, just be careful." So tomorrow we actually don't have any medium or high news, so that's interesting. And then Wednesday we have FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock. So that's pretty much it. Kind
Nice.
of a quiet news week, but it is the middle of July, so who knows what happens. I was thinking today might be quiet, and George pulled off some pretty amazing targets. So come join us tomorrow, and we'll see you then.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you for the market. Appreciate it. See you guys.